your questions or follow-up questions. And also, I did get a couple people sent me their answers that knew that weren't going to be here. Beth Early and Cindy Shirley. So, yeah, and I have really enjoyed reading their answers. So I think I think it's going to be great. So I'll start off with asking a question of the group, and if everybody wants to answer it, or if people, if there's ever a question you want to answer, that's fine. And then we'll just jump in with others.
Can we start with saying everyone's name and how long they've been here?
Well, that was
sorry.
The first question is, because one of the questions was, how long have you, or what brought you to First in the first place, and about approximately what time was this time frame that was, and then if you want to give your name as well, that'd be great. So Nancy,
for
take it away.
history's sake, you have to give your name.
Yeah.
Oh, she's filming it.
So speak up.
Who's filming it?
No one's filming. No one's filming.
No filming.
Get that out of your
My
head.
front tooth just came out. Don't.
You're on film.
Now I got it on film. We'll cut that out. I'll cut that out.
It will get fixed, but today it's awful. Let's see. I came in '68. And I was about 30.
So, and how did you decide to come? You just lived in the
Oh,
neighborhood?
you don't want to know.
Well, you don't have to answer any questions, that's right.
My husband left me in Texas with 3 children, and I needed help. I came here for my parents to help. And they lived right down there. And I didn't want to go to the Methodist church. So I came here.
People always have such straightforward reasons.
Yeah.
Me at the same time.
You were one of those too.
How old were you then?
This is
68, I was 7. So I was here till,
So you went to John
so
Knox.
I went to John Knox in 80 something, and then came back here. When did I come back here?
Was a good thing. It was.
Probably like 2000, 2001, something like that. Came back.
Yeah, make sure the filming gets the most important person.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So that's Nancy Pasco, and that's Julie Griffin. And I'm Nancy Patton. And Pasco and Patton, we've had quite a while of getting
Yes,
confused.
well, actually, it was me that picked the wrong name tag, and my kid said, "You're not Nancy Patton."
I was younger than that. My parents were members before I was born, and I've been here all my life, and so, okay, I was born the end of November in '51. I was baptized here in early 1952 by Dr. Dobson, and been here ever since.
Yay.
So I'm Roger Chamberlain. I came to St. Louis in '79 to go to WashU as a freshman, and a couple years after that I got a vehicle so I could look around at churches that were a little farther away than the almost walking distance that I was going to. And the first Sunday that I went exploring, I'll fess up to not doing my research. And so I went to Central Pres and went to early service there, and it seemed a little odd. And then went to Sunday school, and somebody stood up at a podium and preached to us for another hour, at which point I figured out, okay, that congregation is not for me. And why I wasn't already churched out by then, I don't know. But so I'd been to an early service and then a Sunday school experience, and I'm like, I gotta get some normal stuff, and wandered into First Pres, and
This is all on the same day.
all on the same day. Yeah, I was piling it on.
It's like
Looking for punishment. When I get persistent, man, just stay out of my way.
marathon church shopping. that day.
Exactly. And Jane Geyer snagged me and hauled me down the hall. We were doing fellowship hour in this room in those days. And she hauled me down the hall and introduced me to, I kid you not, every individual in the entire room.
And you still came back.
And I still came back. At which point she proceeded to try and call me Doug for the next 6 months. She'd start out, no, that's not it. And would think really hard. She'd then come up with Roger. But she says, I don't know why you're a Doug to me, but man, is it sticking. She'd catch herself every time, but she'd start with Doug every time. But yeah, so I've been coming pretty much ever since then. So made it through graduate school, marriage, the adulthood stuff, whatever. I'll pass the baton.
So I'm Andy Loth. I have a similar story to Roger's. I came to St. Louis in '85 as a freshman at Washington University, and in high school I had taught, first and second grade Sunday school, and I was interested in continuing that while I was in college. And so first Sunday I was here, freshman year, I looked in some directory and found a listing of churches, and I was looking specifically for Presbyterian because I was Presbyterian in Nebraska. And I found Memorial Presbyterian Church. It was only a few blocks away from the dorms. So I walked down there, and that Sunday they had second or third graders reciting the shorter catechism from memory in worship service.
Wow.
I kind of decided I didn't want to teach that kind of Sunday school. So then the next Sunday I went over to Trinity, and I ended up spending that year there, and I did help out in the Sunday school room with the first and second grade class. The next year, I went back there and went up to the person who was in charge of their Sunday school and said, I'd like to volunteer to help out in your Sunday school class. And I was basically told, we have enough people to teach Sunday school, we don't need you, which I took as we don't want you. And so I ended up worshiping there for that year, but the next year I came here. The first Sunday I was back after summer break.
Should I tell this part of the story?
If you want. I think
Virginia Gilbert
Virginia.
Said, prayers are answered. We were in desperate need of Sunday school teachers, and Andy walked in was the answer to that prayer.
Somehow I found her.
Yeah.
And said, I was interested in helping out in Sunday school.
Hallelujah.
Exactly. Pretty much more than once she said that and repeated the story a number of times. Yeah.
That's so sad. Jane Geyer said when they moved out to West County, they went, to Obama, and the people said, we don't need any more people from these. And so they obviously didn't join that church. Isn't that? Jane was really going and bringing people in and saying,
Yeah, why anybody would say we don't need you.
we don't need any more people from the east. No, that just
That doesn't happen very often around
No,
here.
it
that
doesn't.
we don't need you.
Yeah.
So Beth's response, Beth early response, as far as what, she said she thought she was about 2 years old when she first started coming here, so Nancy, I guess you have her beat, but you were a baby. You were,
Well, as far as percentage of my life.
and of course, she was away for a while too.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
came back, but she had a funny story about how they happened to come here. Let's see if I can find it. Or maybe she just told me this, but I think she said that they lived close. They lived closer to this church, but they had gone to Central. But her dad said that gas was too expensive, and they could walk here, and they would have to drive to Central. So we're going to start coming here. So people always have good reasons. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a really good reason to get you here, but I think it has to be a good reason to keep you here.
Yeah.
And let's see, Cindy said that she was about 26 when she first started coming here. And she was, they were just in the process of locating to the neighborhood, and she just thought that, it just seemed like a good place to come. So I guess one of the questions on here was, what is one of your earliest memories? And I think some of you already kind of, related that. Cindy said that her first memory of First Pres was walking to church from Princeton, I guess that's where they lived in Princeton, and thinking what a grand community life it must have with influential people. And then she found out that most of the people worked for a living, and so I guess that was good. And I guess Beth said that one of her very early memories was of Dr. Dobson giving a sermon for the children. He was in a robe and in the pulpit, but the message has stayed with me for nearly 70 years. Then she goes on to say, I like the way Bill sits on the floor eye to eye with the children. Oh, this is where she says, I was baptized at Central, but gasoline was so expensive at 19.9 cents a gallon, and my father decided we could walk to First. So you can either relate like one of your first memories and or one of your favorite memories in your life here. That's a tough one.
That's not for- I mean, having been here forever, I was trying to figure out what my earliest memory would be, and I think it's being in the nursery, and we had looked like animal crackers, but they were shaped like alphabet blocks. I remember. That was always the snack there. Important things.
It is, yeah.
Great first memory.
So I have an easy favorite memory. When Kate was born, it was a first kiddo in the congregation for a little while. And, so as new parents, we were, we thought we could make it to church on time. Yeah. So, life had a little to teach us. And so we're walking in right as the lay liturgist, who happened to be Marian Paxia, started the scripture. And she was done with the prayer and had started into whatever the scripture was, and we're peeking into the little window, in the back from the narthex. We're like, we'll just sneak in here, right? Nobody'll notice. We open the door. She stops mid-sentence in the scripture and looks up, the big grin on her face, and says, is that our baby that just walked in? And of course the entire congregation spins around and looks at us and we're like, yeah, we're right on time. Yeah, don't mind us.
Well, and I think the congregation has felt as though, that's been our baby
Pretty much ever since, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so fast forward a few years, and Kate is doing some reading from the front. I have no idea. I can't remember what it was, but I distinctly remember her being asked after. So somebody came up to her afterwards. I was just overhearing this conversation, and said, they complimented her on such a good job reading, and then said, and you didn't sound nervous at all. And it just did my heart so good when her response was, well, why should I?
Oh, this is home.
This is home, right. I could mess up, nobody would care. You know, and she was articulate about that. You know, she felt completely true that she could have messed up that reading and nobody would think the slightest bit of it. And I said, or was saying to myself at the time, yeah, we picked a good place.
Any other favorite memories to share?
Some of my favorite memories were with the youth group. That was a big part of my growing up.
So was it a big group?
At that time, yeah. All the kids I went to school with.
The cute girls were here and it brought the boys in.
We did spaghetti dinners, we put on plays. We did a lot of fun stuff.
I was hoping Cindy Hornbuckle would be here tonight. She and I were in the same class. And
So you went to Sunday
So-
school together?
I don't remember when her family arrived, whether she was actually here as early as I was. Not, but certainly by school age we were
Yeah.
here. She didn't live in U City. So we didn't have the school connection, we just saw each other at church. But I have these memories of youth group. I mean, my day, we were, the baby boomers, there were lots and lots of kids. And so, the junior high youth group was on Friday nights and the senior high on Sunday nights. And, Miss Carnahan, who was the CE director, would send out the postcards to say whether you were supposed to bring a casserole or a salad or a dessert. We only have programs, and it's like every other Friday we have movies out in the dining room. We did this. There was a soda machine and a candy bar machine. And
Soda with
Man,
10
that's
cents.
a machine.
Soda machine.
yeah, so there was also
That was a big deal.
candy.
I think it was still 10 cents when I
It was.
We never changed it.
There
It was
you
the
go.
same one as
Where
when
is
I-
that? So Andy, I know your answer to this next question. It says, if you could bring back one tradition from earlier days, what would it be? The 10-cent candy bar. But that was a question. What tradition, if we all have great memories, if there was something you could bring back with it, what would it be?
Fourth grade Bibles, consistently done. This is my fourth grade Bible. And, it's falling apart, obviously, but presented to Nancy Polster by First Presbyterian Church of St. Louis. Denton Marvin Giroux, minister.
Oh,
Can I see the name? Oh,
oh,
yeah, there's a box of those lick and
Oh.
stick nameplates in my office.
With Dr. Giroux?
No, I mean, they're just blanks.
Just blanks.
Yeah,
So
the
this
blanks.
one, anyhow, so they were given at the beginning of the school year,
Fourth grade.
in fourth grade.
Yeah, that was.
And, I mean, yes, we also followed the tradition of the Sunday school teachers, insisting you always bring it. And
Did you?
Not
No.
particularly,
Yeah.
whatever. And,
Yeah. But you still have it.
but I still have it, and,
It looks
I-
well used.
I know, that's surprising.
yeah.
I mean, not for you, but just for anybody. Often those are just in perfect shape.
Yeah.
Mine is still.
well, mine looks like that, but it was the Methodist one, sorry.
Well, probably the same thing, but
But I remember the getting ready for the rummage sale and sorting all those clothes, and Cindy's mother working so hard, and what's his name, the railroad man, saying, we gotta get the French room on the stage. All the nice clothes.
Who would be in charge of?
You know, when I
Or the
was
Women's
in
Association.
vestiges of all that were still around.
Well, when
Oh,
I
yeah.
went to a rummage sale here once when I lived in New City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was still rummage sale when I.
Right, it just got shuttled on to different
it was
organizations.
the weakest when I was.
Maybe the PDO
Well,
was
and
even.
it was
I
Mr.
think it was
Mabry that was
the,
saying,
yeah,
you
I worked
gotta,
for
Right.
it.
you gotta do that, you gotta do this, and you gotta. Yeah, Bernie was dictating, but the good clothes had to go on the stage.
So Cindy mentioned the progressive dinners. So that's that's not a real, I mean, I remember the progressive dinners, not a real old one. And then I guess Beth mentioned church night dinners. She said like what'd she say, that every once a month on Wednesday nights or something, they would have a church night dinner. So food was important then too.
Food, yeah.
Oh,
Yes, where were we? I guess we were
Well,
busy.